Bienvenidos, welcome to Spain on a Fork. Today we have an exceptional recipe, but before we get to that, I would like to thank you for being here, and I hope you're staying safe and healthy out there, and strong and positive. Folks, those are the key words, strong and positive. Anyways, we're talking crispy fried potatoes with a creamy sauce. This dish right here is truly mind-blowing delicious. It's got so many great textures and flavors. It's very easy to make. You can serve it either as a tapas appetizer or even as a side dish next to your favorite protein in a salad for an incredible meal. Let's begin by grabbing 2 medium-sized potatoes and scrubbing them clean under some cold running water. Now I'm using new potatoes, but to make this recipe, you can use whatever potatoes you like, and also as you can see I'm leaving the skin on the potato as I love the flavor it gives the potatoes, but if you prefer, you can totally peel them. Once the potatoes are well washed, I'm going to pat them completely dry and cut the potatoes into thin slices that are about 1/2 centimeter thick, which is between 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick. If you cut them any thicker, with the method we're cooking them in, they're not going to fully cook through. Once all the potatoes are cut up, I'm going to line them up in a single layer and season them with a little sea salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. For the next step, I'm going to grab 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, which is about 68 grams, and add it into a bowl, along with 1/2 teaspoon of sweet smoked Spanish paprika, which is about 1.15 grams, and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, which is about 3.28 grams. And mix these ingredients together, that way everything's evenly mixed together. And in a separate bowl, I'm going to crack in 2 large eggs, season them with a little sea salt, and whisk them together until they're well combined. Now before we start coating our potatoes, let's get our pan ready. I'm going to grab a large fry pan, heat it with a medium heat. Very important to use a medium heat here and nothing higher, otherwise the potatoes are going to burn in the outside and they're not going to fully cook in the inside. And I'm going to add in 1/3 cup, which equals 110 milliliters of extra virgin olive oil. While the oil is heating up, let's start coating our potatoes. First you want to go into the flour mixture, shake off any of the excess flour, and then into the egg wash, making sure it's fully coated in that egg wash. And as you can see, I like to do this with 2 separate hands, one for the dry and one for the wet. That way you don't get a big mess in your hands. And as you finish each potato, transfer it into some parchment paper. You want to use parchment paper here, that way the potato doesn't stick on there and it doesn't lose any of the egg wash. And continue to do this until all your potatoes are coated. Once all the potatoes are coated, let's start frying them up. The oil's been heating for about 6 minutes on a medium heat, and it's nice and hot, but as you can see, it's not smoking, so it hasn't lost any of its beautiful flavor. I'm gonna start adding the coated slices of potato into the pan, making sure they're all in a single layer, so make sure to cook this in batches. After 4.5 to 5 minutes, I'm going to start flipping the potatoes to fry the other side, and this is the exact color you want from your potatoes, a beautiful golden fried color. After a total cooking time of 9 to 10 minutes, that's about 4.5 to 5 minutes per side, these potatoes should be perfectly cooked. I'm going to start removing them from the pan, making sure to shake off any of the excess oil and transferring them into a dish with some paper towels. And continue to fry up your potatoes in this exact same method until they're all done. And once again, remember to use a medium heat here and nothing higher. That way the potatoes don't burn in the outside and they fully cook in the inside. Once all the potatoes have been fried up, I'm going to transfer them into a baking tray that's lined with parchment paper and making sure they're all in a single layer. And I'm gonna add the potatoes into a preheated oven. I have it at my lowest setting, which is 50 degrees Celsius, around 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I like to add my potatoes into the oven while I'm making the creamy sauce. That way they stay warm and they keep that beautiful crunchy texture. All right, for the final step, let's make our creamy sauce. I'm gonna heat a small fry pan with a medium heat and add in 1 tablespoon, which is 15 milliliters of extra virgin olive oil. After heating the olive oil for 1 minute, I'm gonna add in 1 shallot that I finely diced and start mixing that shallot around with the olive oil. You wanna mix it continuously, that way the shallot doesn't burn and it evenly sautés. After about 30 to 45 seconds and that shallot is lightly sauteed, you don't want to brown it, I'm going to add in 2 cloves of garlic that I finely minced and continue to mix these ingredients around with that olive oil. We're only going to go between 20 to 30 seconds here. You don't want to overcook the garlic, you just want it to be nice and aromatic. After about 30 seconds, I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour, which equals about 9 grams. And continue to mix all these ingredients together. We're basically making a roux here, so we're going to go between 1.5 to 2 minutes. This is enough time for that flour to cook off, that way the flavor of the flour doesn't overpower the sauce. After about 2 minutes and that flour has cooked off, I'm going to add in half a cup of milk. This is about 115 milliliters. And a 1/4 teaspoon of saffron threads, which is 0.17 grams. And we're going to continue to mix these ingredients together, that way that milk can thicken up. Now the saffron threads I'm using to make this dish, as always, are from Golden Saffron. Like I always tell you, this is one of my personal favorite saffrons. Amazing flavor, super high quality. Link where you can get some in the description box below. After about 2 to 3 minutes, you can see that milk has really thickened up and we have a beautiful thick sauce. I'm going to add in about another half cup of milk, which once again is about 115 milliliters, but this time a little at a time. And continue to mix this together. Once all the milk has been incorporated into the pan and cooked it for an additional 3 to 4 minutes, this cream sauce is ready to go. Look at that beautiful creamy texture. If you want yours to be thicker, add in a little bit less milk. If you want it to be thinner, a little bit more milk. I'm going to season it with a little sea salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. And we'll give this one final mix. That way those seasonings are evenly mixed into the sauce. Okay, let's start plating our dish. I'm gonna grab our fried potatoes that were in the oven. That way they stay nice and hot. Transfer them into a serving dish. Add some of the creamy sauce over the potatoes. And we'll sprinkle it with some freshly chopped parsley. Check it out, our crispy fried potatoes with a creamy sauce is done. You saw this, very easy to make, such a beautiful presentation, and the aromas coming out of it are absolutely delicious. Let's give it a try and see how it tastes. These potatoes came out looking insane. Here we go. First things first, the potatoes fully cooked through, so important to not cut them too thick. And then with that outer layer with the egg and the flour, and then you mix that in with that cream sauce with the saffron, and like I told you earlier, it's a mind-blowing experience. So many flavors going on. Like I also told you earlier, tapas, appetizer, side dish, either way, one of the best tasting potato dishes you will ever taste. Really quick before I go, a shout out to a couple of my patrons, Martin John Madsen, Jesper Halloum, and Joe Novak. Again, guys, thank you so much for being patrons of Spain on a Fork. You know how much I appreciate you. For the rest of you, if you're not with me on Patreon, consider becoming one. Help with ingredients and equipment to continue making videos like this. You'll find my Patreon link in the description box below and iCard above. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button. Leave me a comment below, and if you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button. Till the next time, hasta luego.